Hey guys, Dr. Neville Campbell here, and welcome back to the Wellness Hustle. I tell you what, these episodes have been absolutely amazing. I'm glad that you guys are following the journey. I'm glad that you guys are appreciating the content so far. I promise you, we have more to come. And today, trust me, I don't know if I can say this is going to be the most inspiring yet, because I might get beat up by the other members who've been before our upcoming guest. But when I tell you so many different facets, the story is so powerful, the years of practice is so powerful, the different professional hats are just so many. I thought that I was busy and I had a lot going on, and but I was humbled when I met Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe Esposito. Dr. Joe, welcome to the podcast today. I'm excited
I think we should
to
end
talk
it
to
there.
you.
We can go home now.
No, we cannot, because these folks need to know and need to hear what I've heard and what we've talked about, and also the things that you've done for me, as a provider. Guys, let's just take a moment to hear from Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe, who are you? I know it's a loaded question.
That is a loaded
Tell us,
question. Wow.
who are you? Where are you from? And what led you to Atlanta, this place at this time? In a nutshell.
Okay, well, I'm from Hoboken, New Jersey. My father was disabled. He had a horrible accident before I was born. Fell off a ladder, broke his back, fractured his skull, went deaf immediately. Very odd injury. My mother was pregnant with me, so he was in a body cast coming in and out of comas when I was born. So kind of born into a turbulent world there.
Wow.
And when I was young, my father, he broke his back, fractured his skull. So he always had back pain. And this is back in the 60s. They didn't have OSHA and they didn't have rehab or anything like that. He was disabled. That was it. So we grew up really poor, me and my mother, father, and sister. So we didn't have any job really necessarily. We lived on, I think it was $70 a week on Social Security.
Wow.
And workers' comp paid like, $100 a week or something. I mean, it was unbelievable how poor we were. I didn't realize how poor we were. So my father's back always hurt. So he'd say, Joey, rub my back, rub my back. So I'd rub his back and it'd feel better. So I thought instant gratification. And I wanted to know why my father was deaf. So it was about 8th grade. And I said, I'm going to become a neurosurgeon. I'm going to become a neurosurgeon, operate on my father's ears, bring his hearing back. Simple goal, right?
Right.
My grandmother said to me, she says, you should go talk to my chiropractor. They do something with nerves.
Mm.
And I didn't know. I had hair down to here, 210 pounds, football player, big beard, jeans, flannel shirt.
But 210
I was
pounds?
210 pounds in high school, yeah. Biggest guy on my football team. And I walk into this I walked into a chiropractor's office, and he sits me down, explains everything about the nervous system and neurology and brain function. Blown away. So then I went to talk to my medical doctor, because I wasn't a good football player, and I got hurt a lot. So I went to the medical doctor often, and I remember talking to 3 different medical doctors, and they talked me out of becoming a medical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
They said, don't do it. It's a lot of work and a malpractice and in blood and bad hours. And then I spoke to another chiropractor, and he was excited about his job.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, these guys are excited. These guys aren't. I think I would be excited. I was a little hyperactive kid.
I would choose the same way too.
Exactly.
Come on, naturally.
So I remember I told my mother I wanted to become a chiropractor. And I didn't even know what it was, to be honest with you. I knew they did something with nerves and backs, and that was it. And she said, I don't care if you want to become a garbage man. Just be the best garbage man there is.
Correct.
So I thought for a second, and I said, wow, that's a challenge. So I went on to chiropractic school. Went through undergrad, went through graduate school, graduated from graduate school at 23 years old. Because I whizzed through everything, and I crushed school classes and everything. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm 23 years old. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
That's amazing. 23. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but again, I got to accelerate through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And back then, you could do some things you can't do now, I guess. And at 23 years old.
Like skip grades and stuff?
Yeah, I skipped grades and I condensed classes. And I remember one quarter, I took 36 credit hours.
What?
Yes.
I thought 24 was a lot.
36 credit hours, plus we had national boards that quarter.
Wow.
So it was like, I remember at the end of that quarter, I just had a mattress on the floor. I couldn't even afford a bed. And I looked at my mattress and I woke up about 26 hours later.
Oh my goodness.
I missed the whole day.
Yeah, you might have just like, no.
Right.
Yeah, rest.
You got to stop. So anyway, my first year in practice, I delivered pizza at Domino's at night to pay my rent because I didn't know how to run a business. I'm 23 years old. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so I delivered pizza at night and see patients during the day just so I had enough money to pay the rent.
And when was this?
1985.
1985.
So 40 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Let me try to stay clear from that because I was like a toddler.
Yeah.
And you were
I
practicing.
could have babysat you.
Yeah, you could have. Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
So respect me, pal.
Absolutely, with the highest level, and you'll know why. Go ahead.
And so I just worked hard, and I realized I didn't know what I was doing. So I started taking advanced classes and more. I got 5 board certifications, and I finally figured it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun journey, but it wasn't fun then. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it must have been a challenge with all these many board certifications. But now it seems like your skill sets have taken you into nutrition and interwoven that with chiropractic treatment, and you're combining both as you provide value to your patients. So I want to dive a little deeper into that in our next couple minutes. But first, you mentioned your dad. And I don't want to just jump and leave that untouched because many people, who are, I don't say many, but quite a few individuals are in similar predicament or position like that now where, dad, who is normally the active figure helping, pushing them on, is not quite there because whether an injury or left or whatever, and it has impacted them so significantly that it takes them off course. It shifts their trajectory completely to the point where the things that they would have want to actualize, they don't. Why? Because that influence wasn't really there, but you see, it was there, but not the way that it could have been without the injury. But you seem to somehow overcame or navigated around that to get to where you are right now. How has your father's injury and how he was dealing with chronic pain conditions, how has that shaped your approach now to patients as you're treating them from a chiropractic standpoint?
Every patient has an impact from that because I saw the suffering my father had, and there was nothing anybody was doing for him. He just suffered. He took some medications. He had a heart condition from a separate issue. He had rheumatic fever as a child, and so he had a mitral valve weakness, and so he just suffered, and he couldn't work. But I mean, he was always there. Great man, brilliant man. And so I think about that when I have patients coming in. Had I treated my father, what a different world it would have been. He would have been able to move better. He would have had a lot less pain. I don't know if I could have brought his hearing back, but amazing things happen every day in our practice because I want other people not to have to go through what he went through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, and it's not just his powerful impact with the many years of practice in chiropractic treatment and his influence in the nutritional space, which we'll talk about briefly, his book that he wrote about extreme health, not basic, but extreme health, and the supplement line that he created. But also, I was blown away that he's a host, a radio host to a national show that has been around for quite some time and is doing exceptionally well. So again, multifaceted in so many different capacity. This man that I'm speaking to right now, I'm honored to have him sit with me right now. So Dr. Joe, let's talk about your love for nutrition. Well, first you did a master's degree, a bachelor's degree?
I got a BS in clinical nutrition, yeah.
Yeah, a bachelor's degree in clinical nutrition, and that kind of opened up your mind, unlocked sort of your understanding on the body's nutrition and needs for the body. Now, I know from a medical doctor's standpoint that for me, nutrition wasn't a thing that was taught that much in medical school. Though we're medical doctors, we're taught to use medicines.
Right.
But before there were medicines, people used to use nutrition for healing.
Absolutely.
So, to me now, there's a major disconnect with modern medicine and what really should be about healing the body. Because, if we ingest to hurt, we can ingest to heal.
Yes.
But we just need to know how. Tell me about your path and your journey to nutrition, to creating your supplement line, and how this is impacting people's lives right now.
Sure. Well, I think that's the missing link in health. One of the missing links in healthcare is nutrition, because we need to blend the two.
Yes.
We need to blend the holistic world and the orthodox medical world.
Yeah.
We need to put those two together.
Yeah.
Because that's where the changes are going to come. Because people on medication get depleted the body of nutrients.
Absolutely.
And they probably needed the medication because they were depleted in nutrients.
Yes.
So now, Elvis Presley said, I'm caught in a trap. Can't walk out. And that's a tricky part. We don't know what to do to get a person well. And I am perfectly good treating symptoms. I have a traumatic brain injury. I was hit by a car when I was 10 and I was in a coma for several days. And so I say I have, because you always have a traumatic brain injury. It never totally heals.
Resolved.
Right. So with the TBI, I started realizing my body is deficient in a lot of nutrients. It's producing a lot of stuff called glutamate, and glutamate can cause pain. So I have to counteract that glutamate with magnesium. And then one thing led to another. And the thing that really got me is I went home to see my parents, and it was 1986. And I drove to New Jersey, and I had Christmas dinner, spare ribs. They were really good, by the way. And I drove back, and I was so poor that I would bicycle to the grocery store. And on Tuesdays, they had the scratch and dent, that discount rack. And I threw all the rotten vegetables and the beans and rice, and I'd put it in a newspaper bag. So I used to be a newspaper boy. And I'd bring it home, and I'd cook on. I'd eat that for a week, and I started feeling really good. And I started thinking, wait a minute, my sinuses aren't running. My digestive system is better. What have I done differently? I'm eating the cheapest food I can possibly find, and I'm feeling great.
Yes.
And then I remembered when I was studying for one of my BS in nutrition, how food affects sinuses and food can have histamine reactions. And it hit me. I remember the day it hit me. I said, wait a minute. What I'm eating is why I felt so bad all these years. And that was the day I decided I'm done.
Yeah.
And so I haven't had any animal products since December 25th, 1986.
Wow. So since
1986.
86.
So 40 years I have had no animal product. No dairy, no meat, no cheese. And I decided the plant-based way to go was the way I wanted to go. Now, there are other ways to do it.
Right.
You can eat animal products if you want to, just make sure they're organic.
Right.
And so I'm not saying everybody should be, plant-based vegan, but this is the route.
Be wise about it.
Be wise
about it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I realized that you probably can't get all the nutrients you need from food.
Yeah.
The food is depleted, the soil is depleted, there's pesticides. And from then till now, the food has gotten worse.
It has.
Yes.
It really has.
So then I said, okay, how do I fill that gap? And so the first supplement I ever created was Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And it was prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a complete multivitamin, and raw fruits and vegetables in a powder form. And then I said, okay, that's a lot. That has 72 ingredients in it. I said, what's it missing? And I said, we need to alkalize the system. We need to get the body iodine. And so I created super greens, which is grasses, wheatgrass, bottlegrass, alfalfa grass, chlorella, and spirulina. And the chlorella and spirulina the chlorella specifically helps detoxify the liver. It gives you iodine because every cell in the body needs iodine. Most of us are deficient in iodine. And it gives you those concentrated nutrients that you find in the grasses. And so those two, that was my starting point. I created those.
Yeah.
And then I said, what else? And so we have about 19 different products that I've created and designed and labeled, and they have a need all the way across the board. I keep creating new ones all the time.
So guys, I must tell you that I am a believer of the products. I'm on the super greens. I do a scoop a day, and I mix that into a lot of stuff. My pre-workout gets mixed in. Sometimes I do my coffee. I mix a scoop into my coffee and just drink that. But you know what? Especially in the fitness world, because I'm a fitness pro bodybuilder, we focus a lot on macros. You hear everyone talking about what's your macros and what's your macros. And yeah, protein, carbohydrates, and fats, they're good. We know. But think about it like this. Like this building, right? You look at this building that we're in currently, and you see the outside, you see the structure outside, but the details of this building inside when you walk in is really what makes up the functionality of the building, right? How the furniture is positioned, how the elevator is operational, if it's, if the shaft is greased and properly oiled or not, you go into the gym room, are the machines working? That's where the micros come in, the overall internal function. And a lot of us, I believe, both, in fitness and non-fitness, our attention is not so much on the micronutrients, which is essential for the functioning of the body. So I think the space that you're in right now, Dr. Joe, is so important. And there needs to be a loudspeaker all over the world telling people, don't forget your micros. This is how you will maintain your longevity.
Yes.
This is what gives you years, right? This is what gives you that youthfulness, that skin turgor, that, hair, skin, teeth, and nails. This is what helps all of that. So, things like the greens and like you mentioned, the super greens, Absolutely important. Highly recommended. Dr. Joe, where can people find these products if they need to access them?
Everything is on my website, drjoe.com. It's real simple, drjoe.com.
drjoe.com.
Mhm.
Guys, there you have it. If you're looking for any sort of, nutrition supplementation, you want to go to drjoe.com.
drjoe.com.
Joey.com. And then, Dr. Joe, you also authored several big books, one of which is Extreme Health. Why Extreme Health? Why the name Extreme Health? This is the book, correct?
Yeah, that's one of my books.
This is
Another
one of his books, Extreme Health.
Yeah, and I wrote
Prescription for
prescription
Extreme
for
Health.
extreme health because
Tell me about this.
people come to me every day and still do 7 days a week. I have this problem, I have that problem, and so I thought, okay, from the medical standpoint, we write a prescription. I have high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, kidney failure. Let's write a prescription. But the prescription is great; it's necessary. But what else can we do to get the person healthy? And so I can combine the two worlds, like we said earlier. I want to combine the medical world with the holistic world, and that's where that title came from.
This is amazing. And then, so in this book, you will find recommendations, or what will people find in this book? Tell me.
It's basically an owner's manual. Okay, this is what to do to get the body healthy. What about the nervous system? What about the digestive system? What about the diet? What about brain function? What about supplements? And we've ignored digestion forever, and digestion is the key because that's how we get our nutrients in. And if
That's where it starts.
that's
Yeah.
where it starts. And if you don't have a good digestive system, pretty much doesn't matter what else you're doing. And I always joke about digestion. I said, everybody's got problems nobody talks about. It's like, it's not a conversation for dinner. But gas, bloating, diarrhea, acid reflux, heartburn, all these things are symptoms.
Yes.
They're telling you something's wrong. It's not the problem, it's the symptom.
Wow.
And so if somebody has acid reflux, we can give them medication to neutralize the stomach acid. But wait a minute, we need stomach acid to break proteins into amino acids. Amino acids become every cell in the body, including neurotransmitters. So wait a minute. If I'm neutralizing my stomach acid, I solve one problem,
And
but not
creating another.
Right.
Yes.
So what if we can actually fix the problem, not just cover it up? I'm okay covering it up, but let's also fix it.
Dr. Joe, I love this. Guys, I didn't have Dr. Joe with me every single day looking at what I'm doing. No, stop this. Don't do that. Dude, this is great. Because I tell you what, we all need this sort of advice, but if we don't have him, you can access his book. And his book will be your guide, an owner's manual. So I just opened it just randomly. And the first thing I came across, I'm going to have a conversation about this, though this is not on script. We're going to talk about it. It says, never under any circumstances microwave anything. I have a microwave.
Uh-oh.
Dr. Joe, can we talk about this, please?
Sure. Again, that really was random. It was funny. I post every day on social media.
Yes.
So if you go to Dr. Joe Esposito,
Yes.
Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. And every now and then we go viral. Every couple of weeks or so we'll go viral. And the one on microwaves, boy, 2 million views. And people saying, well, people have used microwaves for years. Well, that doesn't mean it's right. But when you microwave something, especially if plastic is involved, the plastics melt just a little bit and get into the food.
Microplastic.
Microplastics, yes.
Ooh.
And plastics are endocrine disruptors.
Yeah.
They act like estrogen. They activate the estrogen receptor site, so the body acts like it has more estrogen than it's supposed to. And estrogen is a growth hormone, including cancer cells. And it can alter the hormones for men and women. We need testosterone, not just for the muscles that you have, but your heart's a muscle, your sex organs are a muscle, your colon, your blood vessels. So we don't want to be, fooling Mother Nature. And so I don't recommend microwaves ever. And in fact, I did this experiment one time. My daughter was a little girl, and we took microwaved water, and we just took water out of boiled water, cooled them down, and had identical tomato plants. And we watered them. And the one with the microwave water didn't grow as bad.
Wow.
Now, I don't know the mechanism behind it.
Right.
But it was something that she thought it was cool at third grade to bring into school and show.
Wow.
But I'm not a fan of microwaves. And plus, they leak radiation too. So
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
radiating yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of microwaves. But if you do use a microwave, please never use plastic. Plastic wrap, plastic cover, plastic container, no plastics at all. But don't do it. But if you do, don't use plastic.
Guys, there you have it. I'm telling you, adjustments are coming on my end because I've been hearing about there's more and more topics coming across, more and more articles coming across now on microplastics, the dangers of microplastics, the accumulation of plastics in your system over time. Your body can't clear it, and what it's causing long term, whether it's dementia, your cells are breaking down, your kidney, your liver, your et cetera, cancer. And so, we know that it's happening. And though because it's so slow, we think, okay, it's not bad, but think of the cumulative effect over time
Yeah.
and that impact. I think, more and more, we're going to be learning a lot more as time goes by and some of the things that we accepted as norms, but then
Yeah.
we realize that maybe not.
Yeah, we got to
Just like how we used, I'm sorry, Doctor, just like for years we used Roundup
Yes.
with this, which is a glyphosate.
Glyphosate, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we use this for years, in our, farming industry for all of our plants. It's a what insecticide or whatever it is, but it's also causing cancer.
Yeah.
And we use it for years without knowing. And all of a sudden we have discovered this, and now we're taking glyphosate off. We're talking about it, but imagine the years we've used it for decades.
Yes.
And that cumulative effect has affected so many people. So I think microplastics, in a strange way, might fall into that category.
Yeah, it's the
with
next glyphosate.
time.
Yeah. And even
Yeah.
something like cash register receipts. Cash register receipts, your credit card receipts have bisphenol A in it, BPAs. And BPAs are endocrine disruptors. And so if you cannot use a cash register receipt, if you don't need it, don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
And if you do touch it, wash your hands afterwards,
Yeah.
because it's affecting hormones. And we're seeing children reaching puberty earlier and earlier and earlier.
And that is true.
Yes. And this generation of children is the first generation ever to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents by up to 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So what we're doing ain't working, okay?
It's not.
Because we have all this science and all this technology, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm blown away by medicine and
Yes.
how far we've come.
Yes.
Yet, we're not living any longer. So
No.
who's winning the game?
It's almost counterintuitive. If that was a business model that I'm running, I would say this doesn't make sense from a business standpoint. These
Right.
KPIs are not adding up.
That's right.
We have to stop this.
Yes.
It seems like
And that's what we're doing for
we're
health.
still moving ahead for health.
So I say you have to have a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition.
Yeah.
That's the three things you have to obtain health. I always say it's a healthcare plan. A lot of people have health insurance,
Yeah.
but they don't have a healthcare plan.
Plan.
This is your
Which is
healthcare plan.
different. Yes.
And that's why the nervous system, that's what blew me away with chiropractic, was that if you have a pinched nerve, 90% of the nerves don't feel pain. The autonomic nervous system. You don't feel
Yeah,
your blood
yeah.
pressure, your spleen, your kidneys, your thyroid, your prostate. So when I check my patients, I check the nerves that feel pain, but we also check the nerves that don't
Don't feel pain. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why it's wellness. And people think chiropractic, back crackers,
Yeah.
my neck is sore.
So much more though.
That's the least of what we do, actually. Certainly in our offices. That's the least of what we're really good at it. But there's so much more to that.
Dr. Joe, you know what? Let's expand a little bit about the more. So I met you not too long ago, and we talked. I told you about this shoulder injury that I was just wrestling with over months. I was at the gym and being overly aggressive and not careful. I got reckless and careless, as opposed to controlling that weight on the decline bench. I just let it drop down after I put it up. I just let it drop and not control. And I knew better because I was on the last rep in a set of 12. And it was my last exercise after being there for an hour. I'm ready to go. Just maintain your consistency, maintain locked in, get it done. But no, I got relaxed at the end, got careless, got lost sort of connection with the process, let that weight drop, and it injured my left shoulder. I struggled with this injury for, I would say, about 3 months, unable to really mobilize my shoulder the right way, and just every day waking up with some sort of pain that I'm dealing with every day. So I said, Dr. Joe, just in passing, we were talking about it at dinner. He was like, hey, I think I can help with that. I'm like, help with that? Like, what do you mean? Let's talk about these other devices that you have, Dr. and how you use some of these devices to help my shoulder. Now, guys, this shoulder is absolutely amazing. I go to bed, I wake up, I lift, I push, I bench. I'm all over the place. It's like I didn't have an injury. And I remember when we did that treatment, I was like, let's
My shoulders. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Well, the shoulder's a ball and socket
Let's
joint.
talk about this.
It's
Yes.
not well designed. I said, when I die and go to heaven, I got a lot of talking to God to do.
Yes.
I'm not happy with the shoulders. I'll tell you that. But the shoulder's a ball and socket joint, and it's a shallow socket. So what happens is when you lift, sometimes it can just slightly come out of socket.
Yeah.
And then it's not moving properly. And then the body sends pain to say, hey, something's wrong. But it doesn't tell you how to fix it.
Yeah.
So we examined you. It's okay to talk about you, right? I mean,
Yeah, of course.
no,
Please. Yes. No,
right?
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
We
You have my
adjust-
permission to discuss me. Yes.
we adjusted the shoulder. We put the shoulder back into place. Now, you're a professional bodybuilder. You're a lot stronger than I am. And you remember, I just pushed on your shoulder and you
And I
just
couldn't
didn't
hold up.
push.
Yeah, I couldn't hold up.
Right.
Yeah.
So I set the shoulder back into place, pretty much like that. And what happened after that?
Yeah, I tell you, I was able to resist. I'm like, 2 seconds, well, 5 seconds ago, before you did the adjustment in my shoulder, I was not able to resist you. Now I'm able to actually resist you from pushing me down. I'm like, what kind of magic is this? I don't believe this is some strange voodoo stuff. But I tell you, at that moment, he got my attention.
Yes. And then we have a machine called an acoustic wave therapy machine, sometimes
Yes.
called shock wave therapy. And what it does, it sends really, really fast impulses into a joint, breaks up scar tissue, increases circulation, and it recruits stem cells into the area. And stem cells are the cells that regenerate our body. And as we get older, our stem cell levels plummet.
Yes,
Our aging
yes,
process.
yes.
So if I can recruit stem cells in a specific area, it's amazing. So for you, we did the acoustic wave therapy treatment. And we also have something called a cold laser. And I brought that with me. I won't turn it on because it'll blind you. It'll literally blind you. But cold laser sends photons into the area, into the body, and activates the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the part of the cell that generates electricity. So it's like plugging in your cells and recharging them. So when we do things like an adjustment and the acoustic wave, sometimes we use the cold laser, then we make sure, do I have the nutrients that my body needs to heal this injury?
Yes.
So then we do a dietary workup on our patients. This is what to eat, what not to eat. These are the supplements. And then we see what the body can do. And in your case,
Yeah.
worked
I
pretty well.
mean, it worked out exceptionally well.
Yeah.
So, again, folks, you heard it from the man himself. It is a complete holistic approach, looking at not just, the physical aspect, but also, the internal aspect at the cellular level, what the body needs for its proper functioning. So again, when I tell you earlier that this man is just so amazing, I'm speaking because he changed my life. Not just that, but he speaks and he walks and he lives what he teaches. And that's what has attracted to me. Well, that's what has attracted me to Dr. Joe, is that he lives and preaches that which he believes in, and he actually changes lives while he's doing it. Dr. Joe, let's talk about your social presence and this, and what led you into this space of being in radio media, and how did that come about, and where is it now? And tell us about your radio show.
Totally by mistake.
They say some of the best things happen in life out of mistake.
I was talking
Right?
to somebody. This is
Serendipitously, but go ahead.
about maybe 20 years ago. And they said there was a radio show in New York, and they said I don't even remember who invited me. I was invited as a guest on the show to talk about the neurophysiology of attention deficit disorder. What happens in the brain when somebody has ADD? So I got on the show, and I this was before cell phones. I was sitting on my bedroom floor in shorts on a Princess phone plugged into the wall. Those Princess dial phones, because that was a good connection.
Right.
And I did the show, and I talked about the digestive system and brain function. Because your stomach has one main job. That job is to digest protein.
Yes.
Now, proteins are made up of 20 amino acids. Proteins get broken into amino acids. Amino acid, tryptophan, combines with vitamin B6 and creates a chemical called 5-HTP, which becomes serotonin. Serotonin is produced in the stomach, a little bit in the brain. It travels up to the brain by the vagus nerve or by the blood system. And serotonin in your brain calms you down, makes you happy. Serotonin becomes melatonin, which helps you sleep.
Yes.
So whenever I have somebody with anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD, there's always a digestive component that nobody's ever addressed. And we can physically adjust. We can pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm, physically move it. If you have heartburn, acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, and same thing, I can muscle test it and it comes strong, and amazing results in most cases. Incredible. And we've had people with kids that were just off the chart. They couldn't eat, they're on the spectrum. They can't focus. And we work on their stomach, get them on some supplements, and the teachers say, oh, you finally put them on Ritalin. No, we didn't put them on Ritalin.
Right.
Well, what happened? Now he's passing classes. Can we methylate our vitamins? Methylation, simply put, is making sure it's a usable form.
Right.
Okay, that's a real simple version of it. And 60% of us have something called MTHFR genetic flaw. We can't methylate our B vitamins properly. So if we give somebody a B vitamin, isn't methylated, they can't use it.
Right.
So my approach is, why not just take B vitamins that are methylated, because everybody can use them.
Right. Exactly.
So one of my secretaries, and I'll come back to where the radio show came from, she adopted a boy at birth that was addicted to heroin. And great kid, really super smart, loves anatomy. I mean, he and I sit there, and he's, I don't know, 70 years old, and we talk about anatomy, but he couldn't focus. He couldn't sit still. And I said to her, I said, Christy, I said, give him my methylated B vitamins, Dr. Joe B vitamin, see what happens. She came in the next week, and she said, he sat in school the whole day.
Wow.
And I said, what does that mean? She goes, no, he couldn't sit for a minute. We have to have him in a special class, one-on-one.
Wow.
She goes, he sat there the whole day. Now, he's not cured, but in 1 week, he couldn't methylate his B vitamins. His brain couldn't work. So I kind of gave that talk. And at the end of the show, the guy said, you're pretty smart. You should have your own radio show.
Mm.
And I said, oh, maybe I should. So I went out and I bought time on this little tiny station. It was $50 a week.
Yeah.
Nobody listened to it. It was tiny little. It was literally in somebody's attic. You had to duck your head to get to the microphone. And every now and then a patient would wander in by accident from it, and it was good. So then I bought time on a bigger station. And it was more money, but it was more patients.
Yeah.
And I went to, I have a friend of mine, Dave, and he worked at Cox Media, big WSB radio, #1 talk station in the country. And I said, Dave, get me a job at Cox Media. Get me a job at Cox Media. So he went to work one day. He spoke to a fellow named Kelly McCoy, and I can say his name because he gave me permission. And Kelly's in a radio show Hall of Fame. He's a legend in radio. And my friend Dave says to Kelly, I have this friend Joe, and he wants to see if we have any jobs here. And Kelly said, what's his name? He said, Joe Esposito. And Kelly said, Dr. Joe? Dave said, yeah. He goes, I just heard him on this other radio station.
Oh,
Is he under contract? Under contract. I'm buying time on a radio.
Right,
Under contract.
right.
So I got to meet Kelly McCoy, and Kelly had this big booming voice.
Yeah.
I was, a football player,
Yeah.
I'm Kelly McCoy. And I got so nervous. Kelly wanted to meet with me, and I show up at the station. My armpits are sweating. I'm shaking. I walk in the room, and there's a man standing there. He's about 5'9", probably weighs 110 pounds. And he stands up. He goes, Joe, nice to meet you.
And that's
I'm
Kelly.
And I said,
That's that. You're like, just disconnect.
Yeah. I said, no, you're not. Where's Kelly? Where's Kelly coming from? And he said, this is Fred. He's going to be your producer. And I said, that's my interview?
Right.
He goes, yeah. No, I heard your show. We want you here.
Oh, wow.
And that was 15, 16 years ago. So I've been with Cox Media now with WSB B98 and 97.1 The River for about 15 years now.
Oh, that's and what are the times are you on the air?
Sunday nights, 8 to 10.
Okay.
I'm live. Wednesdays, I'm a guest on Eric Von Hessler's show in the afternoon. Times vary. We do an hour, and we just talk about pop culture and health and everything.
Yeah.
And then Sunday mornings, I'm on 97.1 The River as well.
Gotcha.
And then we have a podcast. It's Dr. Joe for the Health of It, and you can go there, Dr. Joe for the Health of It. Follow it. We put out 2 podcasts a week, sometimes more.
Yes.
My website has over 4,000 hours of content.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
guys! I'm telling you, I thought I was busy, but trust me, I am greatly humbled when I talk to Dr. Joe. Such a man with a multitude of facets. It just leaves you mind blown. But Dr. Joe, what I'd like to do though is, as we are getting ready and drawing close to our conclusion, I'm going to definitely have to bring you back because we've just scratched the surface.
We got so
As you can see, like he's just giving you guys the cliff notes of what's happening in these different sectors, whether it's his nutrition ventures and how those are doing in the supplement lines, over 15, 16, 17 products available, the chiropractic work and the unique services that they offered and how they're making differences and changing people's lives. I can speak to that. I'm a testament to what they did for me in the past 2 months. I absolutely enjoying the newfound, relief of pain and mobility I've gained in my shoulder, but just what he's doing with the media to reach people, to teach people about the services, not just his services, but life-changing services that we all need to hear and learn about. Dr. Joe, I believe that, you're a gift to us.
you.
No, I really believe so. I really come across people that move me in a way that you have. Just your command of the knowledge base that you present, your approach to business, your consistency of practice, and just your heart, your soul is you're a beautiful soul, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making changes. You're moving. You're moving. Things, and you're making an impact. Whether you believe so or not, just know that you're doing it.
Oh, thank
So
you.
continue pushing
That
ahead.
means the world. I mean,
Absolutely, Doc. Absolutely, without reservations, you're doing great. So, in sort of like as we're wrapping up, let me just throw a question out there to you. There's several people younger people out there now who are coming on, looking for various professions, whether it's chiropractic, whether it's law, whether it's medicine that they're trying to embark on. They're facing challenges, whether it's through their family, people supportive people not being there. And as they navigate the wilderness of things and they're concerned, what advice would you give to them based on your journey, your challenges, and how you've navigated? What advice would you give to your 10-year-old self? If you should sit in, if he should be sitting across you right now, knowing the challenges that he would see and face,
Yeah.
what advice would you give him?
Wow. I would have said, get your body healthy early, because I was not healthy when I was a kid. I was overweight. I was fat when I was a kid. I can say the F word. I was fat as a child. Then I became a football player. I didn't take care of myself playing football and hockey and street fights. And I should have taken care of myself. And boy, if I could sit down with my 10-year-old self, I said, listen, change your diet, get the nutrients that you need. Make sure your body is lined up. It's like a car. If it's tuned up, it works better.
Yeah.
Get chiropractic care. Get your digestive system fixed. I had a horrible digestive system. I always had this big belly. I had bad breath. I was burping all the time. And when I realized you can actually physically manipulate the organs back in place, my life changed dramatically. And I'm sure I had ADD back then. They just didn't call it that. You were just a wise guy. You were a wise guy. You were a class clown. But now we have a diagnosis for it.
Right.
But either way, giving something a diagnosis doesn't help unless you can fix it.
Yes.
Yes. So I would say get your diet straightened out, get your spine straightened out, get your digestive system straightened out, and it would have been a lot more fun, a lot easier. I'll tell you, it would have been a lot more easier if I was healthy. And I think everybody should do that. I can't imagine anything more important than health. No matter how much money you have, if you're not healthy, it doesn't matter.
They say there's a quote that I read as we close. You can have 1,000,000 problems until you have a health problem, then that becomes your only problem.
And you have one problem.
Exactly.
Yes, if you want to narrow down your problems, get a health problem. Yes.
It becomes your only problem at that point.
Mm-hmm.
In closing, guys, please do me a favor. Check out drjoe.com. Check out Dr. Joe. There's so much more to this man, but I promise you that you're going to learn something that's going to improve, change, and transform your life. Dr. Joe, it was a pleasure having you today.
I can't thank you enough. I don't think there's words to thank you enough.
Always good to chat with you, man. I'm looking forward to having you on again.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks,
I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.